I got the broadcast started for the new moon session on Wednesday, June 13th. So we are ready to go here. I got the broadcast started for the new moon session. So we've got our recording. Let's see. Lucy says she was early. How early was Lucy? I don't think she's even here. I think Lucy's late. Lucy?
She's a bit early.
It sounds like she's late to me. Unless she's here, she would be late. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. So we'll see when she gets here. All right.
I think she's here. But her microphone is muted.
She's not here. Maybe you could do a Skype message.
Hello.
Hey, Steve. So does anyone else want to help with facilitation, note taking, timekeeping, video indexing?
I will help with your indexing, note taking, and task responsibility master.
I'll help with the timekeeping.
Timekeeping screens.
Cool. All right, then. Looks good. So let's do, start with our check-in. I guess I can start. I am a 7, 9. Been working hard, doing a lot of different things related to like the payroll and the Z Collaborator and the offerings, and I've also been working on the FQN tokens and getting all our documents organized and policies organized, and doing a lot. But we're making progress. So we'll keep going.
Oh, sorry, Zilu, guys, I was on call.
Okay, no problem.
You were on what?
Hello. I was on call.
On call. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't know what on call means. All right, Lucy, you want to check in?
Okay. Yes. I'm at 6.
And what have you been working on?
I'm at 6 today.
What have you been working on?
State.
I've been working on budgets,
Okay.
payroll, top ranking, and other. Also on the chart board.
Cool.
HR board voting for. Yes.
Great, Steve-O. Also, just a reminder that the ranking we should pull back on until you can check in with me more on it. Steve-O.
Hi everyone, I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to gain a lot from this session. For the past week, I've not been working since I had a problem with the internet connection. So, but at least I did updating highest mandatory priority responsibility. And also I did a bit of plasma check.
So
which number are you in?
Mandatory. Oh yeah, what's
6.
your number? Cool. So mandatory priorities updating isn't a responsibility. And also Plasma, we'd like you to step back until you learn more about the Plasma. So because we have specific responsibilities on our Plasmo. Like Plasmo itself isn't a responsibility. So,
Okay.
you know, you should probably be holding off until you talk some more with someone, or maybe we should prioritize that for today's session.
Okay.
Albina?
Hi everyone, I'm 6.5. I've been working on global weekly check-ins, HR budget proposal forms, budget and tabulation. Thank you.
See that?
Yeah, I'm fine. My number is 5. Was working for the seasonal sessions organizing on the calendar and weekly check-in, management of responsibilities, session circles, and also looking for the text.
I didn't hear that last part. But, okay.
The last part was also looking for the text also.
Oh, the taxes. Yeah. Super key. Yeah, and you need to prioritize and be communicating much more about the Mo taxes because, you know,
Yeah, you were said
really
that
hard.
after payroll done, then we will focus on that. So I was not disturbing you on the first.
Okay, well, let's just make sure we get it prioritized. Cool. Awesome. All right, so I think we're done with our check-ins. Did anyone else show up?
Jessica, we have
Jessica.
Jessica.
Jessica, 1 second.
Yeah, I'm at 6.5. I was working on personnel hours tracking, the invoicing and billing, and also assisting on Plasmo.
Cool, so that sounds good. Just be sure to, you know, hold off on the Plasmo until you have specific responsibilities for that because it's a little more specific than just Plasmo, okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right, so let's see what is next here. I think we're doing our attendance and rankings. So let's make sure we have everybody. Jessica, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, is that right?
Yeah, 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, cool. All right, so then we'll do our evaluations and prioritization. And also, can we link the weekly check-in?
Yeah, I will. I'm good.
So please link the weekly check-in form. And then if you haven't done the weekly check-in form, this is what you should be doing right now. Otherwise, you'd be, well, you go on soft stop. So from there, we would want to, I guess, do our team prioritization best as we can. And I do want to make sure that we add to our work lists all of our sessions, our client session. Let's be sure to do that. And I would prioritize our June, July goals. Just because, wait, what happened to all our June, July goals?
Yeah, it's placed on the desired outcomes.
What? Where's all the June, July goals?
Yeah, June, July. Or July, August.
No, we're doing June, July. It's middle June. But they're just missing. There's only like 27 of them. What happened to all of our goals? Is anyone working on our team prioritization spreadsheet? Hello?
Yeah, hello. In the sheet, open just.
Hello?
Okay.
Has anyone worked on
Yeah.
global core team priorities and spreadsheet? And we seem to have cut off all of our goals. There's only the 29 goals.
Yes, started.
Zilu, is that you?
27. Yes.
So where are the rest of our goals?
Oh no, I don't know. I was not okay with this. I was just going to go here.
So did anyone else do this? Steve-O, Jessica, Lucy, Albina?
Doing what, Jay?
All of our goals seem to be missing, and there's no link to anything else for our goals, for the June, July goals. There's only 27 of them.
The global goals, yeah, they're on backlog.
All right, so where is it? I don't see it.
We need the backlog
Under the June,
on the
July goals?
spreadsheet. Unless someone deleted it.
Yeah, line 20, internal team setup, line 25.
But we're not doing internal team setup. It's for the goals for the month, our monthly goals.
They're all on backlog spreadsheet.
Where is the backlog spreadsheet? Can we link that to the 116-degree June, July goals?
Let me copy and link that because it's in the internal team setup down there.
Internal team setup rule number 26.
Okay, but I'm concerned about the June, July goals, not the internal team setup. The 116-degree June, July goals.
Well, if you open the backlog, you will get all the responsibilities are there.
For the June, July goals?
Yeah.
Has all
There is
of them.
also 26.
They're all
It
in
only
backlog.
says
We just put
29.
everything in backlog.
It
We
only
did not
has
separate
29.
it. We put
There's only 29 though.
27. 20.
we did not delete anything. We just copy whatever is there when we left some that other side.
Okay, but it seems like someone deleted something. Albina, do you know anything about it?
No, on the internal team setup there, everything is there. Nothing
Okay,
is
but I'm not
deleted.
talking about the internal team setup. I'm talking about the June, July goals.
Okay, I didn't delete anything. I didn't.
Well, someone deleted something because we have at least 50, 60 goals. So can someone,
Something deleted, I don't know.
can someone work on updating this so that we can be able to vote on our goals? Maybe we should just like delete the June, July goals entirely and start brand new. I think that might be a good idea. Anyways, I think we should probably skip this agenda item. It doesn't look like we are going to have much success here. Are you guys ready to move on? Do you guys want to move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
who's going to fix
Then when
that?
you go to backlog, you will have internal and also goal for June, July.
Yeah, but the problem is there's only 29 of them, so it's missing like, more than half of our goals. You guys don't understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
We understand, Jay.
Okay, so can someone volunteer to fix it?
We will, Lucy, we need to fix
I
everything.
don't have to that.
So we can do that. So let's add that to our priorities for the day.
The problem is with numbers.
So let's add this here. So task, you know, work on
What is missing there? Jay?
the priorities. Albina, do you want to try to explain it for the goals?
Okay, Jay says in the backlog, Lucy, June, July goals, we only have 29. Maybe we are missing, some are missing, so we need to check. Supposed to be more than 29.
Okay, nothing missing. Everything is there. I even have a copy of it, my own copy that I made.
So what do you want to?
Apart
You
from
wanna bet
that
money
one,
on
I
it?
can
I mean-
even give you the backlog copy that I made mine. Apart
So
from the one,
so
uh,
so do you want to, like, you know, bet like a week's work or something like that it's all there?
yes, they're all there.
So you're saying that if we can
I
find a
have a copy.
single priority
I
that's
have
not
a
on the
copy.
list, you would rather not work for a week? I mean, I don't understand. Like, Albina, do you?
Jay, I have a copy of backlog apart from the one I've been giving you, just my own, and it has up to 27. And I did not delete anything. I just
And
copy.
did you double and triple and quadruple check everything in all the past months and everything to make sure that every single goal was included? Or are you just assuming?
No, we did not include the whole past goal.
We need to check and include everything, so we just have to check.
Yeah.
later.
Otherwise, all the goals disappear.
More than 29.
It's definitely
No,
more than 29. There's always been more than 29 every single month.
Yes, like the 3 degree is up to 55. You know, on my copy, I have all goals. I just copy all of them.
And how many are
Because
there?
Yeah, I did not delete even for every month on my backlog that I have.
But who
Apart
cares?
from-
Who cares what you did or someone else did? We all know there's more than 29 goals. So if there's only 29, it's not correct. Do you understand?
Yes.
So let's just fix it and not argue about it. It doesn't make any sense. We all here know that there's more than 29 goals. So if you're trying to argue with us to tell us that there's only 29, you're wrong, and we all know you're wrong. Because we can look on the list that there's more than 29. You know, so I'm sorry to say it, but it doesn't make any sense. And you just said yourself in the 3 degree there was more. There's 55. So it's like we all know there's more than 29. Right? And there's no difference between the 3 degree and the 116 degree. It's all the same goals. It's just a different month. Right? Right? Or am I wrong?
You're right.
Okay, so let's just update it and get it functional so that we can get our goals, you know, prioritized. Maybe we'll do it this session, but right now we're not doing it. So Lucy, Zilu, Albina. So let's move on, since that was not particularly productive. All right, so desired outcome. Do you want to talk about this, Zilu, since you worked on it some?
I was added few desired outcomes there.
Do you want to just be silent about it, or do you want to talk about them, or?
Yes. I need to finalize the invoice tabulation for with the budget finalized, preparation for the art session, and also the personal calculation for the weekly check-ins, future elections, goals for the month of July, August, and the set of goals inspired with this.
Well, Okay, so this looks good. I would say we probably want to focus on the budget. Again, you're mixing up the group, the primary topics. These would be like topics, primary goals, right? That's topics. So invoice tabulation, all this stuff, this is all internal team setup. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then we also need times. You have to remember to put times on it. So we're really close here. So invoice tabulation and budget, I feel like this is really as far as we're going to get. And then maybe if we get lucky, we could work on some of this other priorities. We could do like a view up and recalculate our priorities. Feel that good? So how long do you guys want for invoice tabulation?
Up to 10.
Tabulation for 151 is done. Now we are waiting for someone to verify old world. We did the verification for new world, so no one is stepping in to do it. Invoice. Old world invoice is not verified.
Well, we're not talking about the invoice right now. We're just doing the desired outcomes and topics. So are there other topics that people want to add?
Payroll.
It's already there.
Yeah, it's already here.
There already.
Art session.
Planetary session is there.
Yeah, that is also on the order. That's a topic.
Day support.
Support. So Earth session would technically be a primary goal, right? J support. Do you see the difference between Earth session, J support, and then payroll? You know, elections, budgets, invoice. You see the difference? Like these are client work. Does that make sense? They're goals as opposed to internal team setup. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the client is always prime.
Executive support.
Executive would be internal team setup. All right, so let's get focused here. Let's focus on our invoice tabulation and our budget, and then see if we have more time to do anything else.
Can you share the screen?
Oh, yeah. Cool. So, are there any other desired outcomes or priority focus for the meeting? I'm going to add tokens as well to our list because we're really close to doing that. Okay. So,
I think policy.
Policies?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and see if there's any other objections or questions, concerns, objections with our desired outcomes and primary focus of the meeting. All right. So it looks like we have agreement on our topics, which is good, and our desired outcomes.
Payroll is for how many minutes? We have same time there.
Well, if we get to it, we're going to do a view up before that. So this would be like 5 to 10 minutes. So basically what we're saying is we're going to work on the invoice tabulation, the budget, then we're going to check in as a group and look at our situation and how much more time we have and what we can do. That's what a view up is. It's kind of like a check-in, okay?
Okay, fine.
On our schedule. Cool. All right. So let's go ahead and And obviously the budget could take a lot longer than 10 minutes. I mean, this could be 20 to 40 minutes, right, to do it.
Yeah.
Right? All right. And we need a budget, otherwise we will be on hard stop real quick. Okay, so we have agreement on topic and desired outcomes. So that's done. So now we go to our schedule. So we want to, who's our timekeeper? So we want to do bottom of the hour 30-second stretch, right? And then top of the hour, like 5-minute break.
Steve, oh, you are on mute. You need to be alert on time.
Yes.
Right.
If anyone wants to help Steve, you can. And then from there,
I will.
Okay. From here, is there anything else we would want to add? Maybe like what time we want to wrap up? I think it would be good to wrap up by 3. Wrap up around 3 o'clock. Does that seem possible to people? And then finish by 3:30. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Start the schedule. So that gives us an hour and a half. Cool. Anything else on the schedule? I think that we're gonna be canceling weekly Cobalt sessions. I would assume, right? So let's note that. Unless, does anyone want to do the Cobalt? I don't think I'll be able to do it. So we'll have to work that out. Are there any other sessions we should be aware of that are coming up? Any other sessions? Hello?
I think let me check. I think everybody needs to participate.
No, Cobalt is only.
So do we have any other sessions or no other sessions for the week?
We have Cobalt main session.
Again, we're canceling Cobalt main session because it's overlapping with the new moon, right? It's like right after this.
Yeah.
Then we have dynamics.
Not really.
So then we have
No
No other.
only tomorrow. Our time they know.
That is
Old one.
that is 8 hours from now. That's not
Yeah,
affected.
that's what. Yeah, that's what I know.
Yeah, okay.
So it's
cool.
only the Cobalt.
All right, sounds good. So I think those are only 2 sessions for the week. Let's go ahead and move on to our proposals and decisions. So I think we do need to have a doc here. I need to create a future proposals doc, or actually would just be proposals doc. We might already have one.
We have the master decision doc. It is not updating people.
Yeah, so the proposals doc would basically be for proposals that haven't been approved yet. We have a list of potential proposals, but they haven't been finalized into actual proposals. But one proposal I would add, which I was thinking about, is that the last co-chair who's no longer co-chair would oversee the next election tabulation. I think this would be a good model because right now we seem to have a problem doing the co-chair tabulation. Like we should just be announcing the winner at the new moon and the full moons, but we're just not doing it. So we need to fix that. So I was thinking that whoever's no longer co-chair, whoever steps down. So whichever co-chair steps down would do election oversight and calculations for 2 weeks later.
I think no one is now co-chair. Maybe Zulu. Albina, I think already done. This is the end of here.
So if we pass this proposal, then Albina would be responsible for the next co-chair election to make sure that it's carried out correctly and that the calculations are done before the full moon, and then at the full moon session, you announce the co-chair so that we have a co-chair. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to approve this proposal, but that's the only proposal, the new proposal I've thought about. Are there any concerns or objections or questions to the proposal?
My concern is, even though we are going to, maybe we elect someone who is not active, we are still going to be affected.
But it's better to elect someone than nobody. Does that make sense?
It is even better not to elect than having them. There is no difference between electing someone who is not going to work.
Okay, but if they're not active and they're not working, we can just go to the next person on the list, If we don't do a co-chair election, then we don't have anybody. So I'm not sure exactly, you're saying that we just shouldn't do co-chair elections, or what are you trying to say? Do you have a question or a concern about the proposal?
It's okay.
Lucy, do you have a question or a concern about the proposal?
So what will be the duration for the co-chair's activities going on?
So Lucy, do you have a question or a concern about the proposal?
I have no question.
Okay. All right, are there any objections? Okay, so that's fine.
Yes. It should not be only Albina because she's stepping down. Anyone, because this is for everyone who is there. Maybe Albina can just go and verify if that person did the correct thing.
Yes, that's true. So the oversight of the calculations does not mean she controls it. Everyone can continue to support the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just saying, like, Albina, being the last co-chair who just stepped down, would be an independent, voice, because she has nothing to gain from it. So she can help make sure that the election will go smoothly and make sure that it's actually completed on time. I think it makes sense. Does that sound good, Lucy?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So are there any objections?
No objection.
No objection.
Okay, cool. So that's good. Let's just get that proposal out of the way. And then hopefully we can get our co-chair elections. Like, if anyone could announce the co-chair elections, that would be great, to have them completed. Otherwise, it's just like, I don't know if we're going to get to it. We don't seem to get to it in previous sessions. It shouldn't take any time to announce the co-chair because the work should already be done, And Zilu is currently co-chair still?
Yes.
So Zilu would be stepping down at the next full moon, and then Albina would be also all involved in the election, but that would be for next time. Okay. All right. So any other proposals that we want to note so there's a list of other proposals from last session that we still need to address. All right, so anyways, usually you wouldn't necessarily directly propose that, but this is important for one of our agenda items. We might as well just get it done. All right, so let's move on to our first topic. And can someone please create this doc for the proposals doc?
Okay, I will.
All right, so let's see here. The first topic is
Tabulation.
invoice tabulation for 151. All right, let's start with the invoices. So let's go to the old world invoice. Well, this is a little better. More of what we'd want to see. And did anyone ever do the old world invoice? Or you just never got it done? A little bit. And let's check out the invoice tabulation. And we never were able to do the verification. So is this? So this is still pretty confusing. Maybe we want to do a new model. So we might want to create a new spreadsheet with just client work invoice tabulation. That's what I would encourage you guys to do. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying that like there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tabs here. That's a lot of tabs and a lot of information. All we need right now is just, there's a lot of feedback going on. Is that?
Steve, oh, can you mute?
Yeah, Steve.
Thank you.
So, so all that really matters right now is just the invoice tabulation. So it says here taxes and finances and Plasmo. Would this be correct?
Yes. Yeah.
This is correct? Okay, cool. So, just to make sure it's clear, you can invoice for more than, like, so here you're invoicing for $2,000. You're invoicing for more than what was done for the client work, but it's not going to go very far, So the question is here is, and this is the question I've been asking for over a month now. What is the breakdown of the client work between the two, the new world and the old world? That's the information.
It's just there.
Where is it?
Is there?
Oh, this
13
right here?
and 341. Yeah.
Okay, so this would add up to
355.
Okay, so this matches this right here.
Yeah.
So then if we just switch this out to like 3x, and then this would be equal to this times 3, and this is equal to this times 3. It's still not correct though, because it needs to be broken down by client pool, right? So we could just do it, I guess, by percentage, right? So if we said this is 355.25, and this is the percentage. So it would be 3.73% for the old world. I mean, for the new world, and 96.27% for the old world. So I think we're just going to switch this to 3x to make it simpler. Right, so if you do this times 3x, then you get these over, and then this would be like the actual, and so then it's going to be 500, right? So $500 is the maximum because that's the total budget pool. Does that make sense? So even though this is over, we can't do more than the actual amount.
5 minutes on the topic.
Cool. So then if we take the $1,000, and this is obviously not the best way to do it, but it's just a quick way to do it. And then you multiply it times the percentage, you get $37,963. And there is going to be a little bit going, I don't remember exactly what it is. So this is 44.33, 44.33. So if you do 44.33 times 2, so it's 88.66. So you would do this is equal to this minus times 0.8866. Cool. So that's the correct number right there. Okay. So this would be old world, and this would be new world. So what do you guys think?
That is okay. Fine.
Well, the original amount was 2,000. So we did about half of the work that was, budgeted. So for me, that's not exactly fine. That would be a travesty and a kind of disaster. I mean, imagine if you were the client where your work didn't get even worked on at all. I would be pretty upset. So we still need to fix our client work. Otherwise, we're just going to have to continue to cut the budget. So are there any other questions or anything for the...
The question is, we don't have more client work. We don't have more client work.
What's the current...
We only have we have taxes, and Zulu always working on that. You know, when someone works there, maybe he can coordinate and inform us the step in. And we have J support. This is a part of client work. We need you to prioritize with you, and always we don't have time for that. You work on a different thing. So it's also a challenge.
Well, actually, we prioritize payroll together because people want to get paid. So right now we could work on J support. We have plenty of time. I mean, we're doing 60, 80-hour weeks. Like, we have time to do the work. It's just a matter of what we prioritize. Does that make sense?
Only 2 minutes left on this
Lucy?
topic.
Lucy, are you saying that I'm not present here and supporting whatever we want to prioritize, or am I missing something?
Yeah, making sense.
Well, you just said that I don't put enough time in, that I don't have enough time to do the work.
You know, payroll always take a lot of time and budgeting. because when we prioritize to do other things, we have to do past payroll. If we prioritize to work on day support first, we need to pay.
Okay,
So
so
challenging.
let's just keep making sure we're getting our work done, and then eventually we'll get to it. You know, so if we are doing the payroll support and we actually plan our payroll ahead of time, it will take, you know, a quarter of the amount of time that we spend on it. You know.
Yeah, Lucy's right. People are not. We just need to step up and do.
Yeah.
Like now, on first step of payroll, that is verification of hours. People spend their time, they don't even verify it green, working on the same things. We just need to complete things. Like verification of hours, that's a simple task. Before you endorse to people to do the first verification, make sure that everything is done. A lot of work is just pending because people are just working and not accomplishing their work.
Exactly. So
those are the challenges we have. Small, simple tasks that we're supposed to just complete in two hours, we are completing within a week. Exactly. So we waste a lot of time on simple tasks.
So I think there's plenty of time to get all the work done for all of our clients. It's about prioritizing and stepping up and actually, you know, just staying focused and doing what's required. Like if all we ever do is focus and endlessly spend time on internal operations, we're not going to get the client work done. We need to be efficient, fast, just get it done, boom, move on to the next thing. It doesn't need to be perfect. We need to simplify, you know, make it as easy as possible, kind of like the weekly check-ins. We really simplified and fixed the weekly check-ins, so it's much faster, easier, simpler. We can do that with everything, okay? So let's just keep let's keep updating it.
Then if we still have to, if we continue, then we need to enforce some rules, even though maybe they're not applicable, but we have to make it work, those rules, because there is no need keeping someone who is silent, don't showing up, doing other things in organization. They're taking us down. If you don't come, we just have to let them go. We recruit someone. If that person also not serious, let them go. We will move ahead because people are taking advantage.
Yes, I agree.
They know, even though I'm not working this time, I will come and work next month and get paid. That is not the case. Are you helping? It's not. We are not here because of money. We are here to help the community. Also, we are here also to make this organization to be somewhere in future, to help more people.
Yes, thank you, Lucy. I love it. So just to finish up with the client work, because this is really, really important. If we go to our current budget, I believe our current budget for, oh wait, no, this is for 116. So this is our rank budget for 116. So our current budget for 3 degrees, or this would be our past, our just finished budget for 3 degree moon, right? Let's get that linked here. And that was this one.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we updated this yet for the income. Potential income. Yeah, this looks correct. Right, so the total is $4,535. Right, so for the current budget, this is our potential.
It's 3 minutes over the time assigned for this topic.
Nice, thank you. Okay, so this is the current income for this moon month. Does everyone understand that? So we have a potential to bring in up to $4,535 into UMBUS.
Yeah.
Does that everyone understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's plenty of money if the work is done. If the work isn't done, no one gets the money. Right? The money stays in the budget pool and then we hire someone else to do the work. Right? That's the way it should be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, cool. So then for our next month's budget, let's take a look. Oh, wait, are there any other questions on? All right, are there any other questions on the invoice tabulation, what this means as far as the $900, $37, or the client budget pools that we had for our potential income from last month? Okay, so are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's go on to this month's budget. So this will be the 116-degree budget. Also, it's good to note that this is the beginning of the new half year. It's very exciting. So we have a lot of exciting things coming, including getting our tokens all set up, which maybe if we can end early, we could do that today. Okay, so let's take a look at the budget. Let's start with our, oh wait, there's nothing here. So the beginning of every budget should have income. So let's fix that. So this is going to be our income. And this would obviously be potential income. So let's just pull it off of here and go through it. There we go. So this is potential income, and then we have actual income. So our potential income is for 116-degree, right? For our actual income is from 151. Does that make sense? Everyone understand?
Yes.
So
Yes.
this would be half worlds and amount. So you have the new world had like what, $37, and the old world has 900 and whatever, I don't know, 80.
62.
962, 962. Okay, so this gives you a little perspective on the funds coming in. All right, and again, this isn't directly related to how the invoice will eventually work, but this gives us a general picture of what's going on, you know? So you would still break it out to client work and the internal operations, but right now we're just focusing on the potential income so that we can actually get focused on the client work. Otherwise, we're just not making a lot of progress here. All right, so, and then the total here after the fees is, wait, that's too much. Why is it so high? Let me check one more thing. $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, that's not right.
1,000. 1,000, yeah.
Oh wait, maybe I did the wrong one. So this is going to be G. So it's G times H. There we go. That's better. Okay, that's better. So again, there's fees that go towards other things besides internal ops and business. So we have our overall fees, and we've got for our business fees, and there's also the cost of the running Umbus. Okay, so we get 853 and 33, so it's 886 is the total. 33 and 853. All right, so let's go back over here, and it's 33 and 850. Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So that's the actual income. This is the money we have to work with. The potential income is this right here. So we have our Plasma, we've got our Jade support, we've got the Mode taxes, we've got the sponsorship program. So this is all just like for sure. The other one that's for sure, I guess I could check real quick just to make sure the money came in. It's always good to check.
Yeah.
I have a meeting right after this one. So this would be for the World Collaborative. I don't see anything. Nothing. That's unfortunate. All right. So I don't know if the money's come in yet, but anyways, it's supposed to. So we would add another one here, and this is going to be for the mission within. And so this is going to be 250.
5 minutes on the topic.
So that's going to give us 2,250 extras. So the grants are going bye-bye since we're obviously not doing that. RICO law support still should be in existence.
Jay, what is DMW?
The mission within, it's the new client.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right. So, and then we could call it mission within support.
So how can you know that? Okay.
It's brand new. I mean, we're just starting this today. So our first session of them, and they're supposed to have paid us already, but either way, we'll figure out the payment later. So these are extras that it's just like, not really sure if it's coming through, but it most likely would be. So this is just the 500. Was there anything else that we were going to try to add?
You said planetary session support.
Well, that's the session support's down here. So all the session support's down here.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
So our priorities, the Mercury session, not so much this month. Lunar, Mercury, eclipse, Venus session is coming up. We want to do that. Earth session is a high priority. That's this month. Mars is coming up. We want to make sure to prioritize that. Ceres is the plan, and the Saturn plan. So these are just after effects for the plan. All right, so that's the total.
You have to add also the seasonal.
Oh yeah, seasonal. So seasonal would be right before Venus would be right here.
And Albina, we have the next seasonal session on 21st June. Need to add on the RSVP sheet also, the form RSVP form.
So that comes before. So I would actually put that in our schedule. So
yeah.
The next big session is the seasonal session. Where is our schedule here?
And Zillow, when you verify, also you make sure you put on the spreadsheet verification so that we do the second verification and we also.
And you said it's June 21st? You said it's June 21st?
It's on 13th June.
The session is 21st June, yeah.
And the Earth session is on July 5th?
July 6th.
6th?
Yeah.
6th July and 4th.
Cool. All right, so one thing I want to make sure that we start doing is I want to get the links to the Google Calendar events. All right, so we need to start getting the links for these, and then eventually we're going to have Facebook events, and we're going to be putting it out. The seasonal session is a really good one to do outreach for because that's an open session. Lucy?
I was just to say, I think like that will be good when we have all, then we just put all the session for the year.
Oh, do we have that? Remember I asked you to get that? Do we have that now?
You said that is a minor, we have to let Zillow do it.
Okay, do you know about it?
Yeah, it's done.
Do you have that link?
Yeah, it's done. Yes, I have.
So link to
just
all
put that
planetary
if you have.
sessions
Yeah,
for the year.
28.
And then there also should be a link to our moon clock calendar as well, our schedule for the month, right? So the moon clock is just for the month, whereas the planetary sessions are for the year. Okay, so we should have those. Okay, so let's go back to our budget. So I think,
10 minutes on the topic, and we are at the top of the first hour.
Okay, cool. So I think this is pretty much it why don't we just add this up here since it's really not too much different. 7. Cool. So we have $2,750 here. And then we've got the session support, which is another 1,080. Animex and Nation branch. I don't know what that is, but let's not worry about that. And the total would be equal to this plus that. So it's $3,830 is the total potential income if we do the work. That make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So it's like, let's get the work done, and then we'll have plenty of money. We don't have to worry about, everything, having to endlessly cut people and all that stuff. All right. There. So this is our potential income. Potential income for 116° west. So when does this 116°? So this would be the June, July month. When did we use this potential $3,830?
July, August.
What?
July, August.
Nope.
June, July.
Nope.
No. August, September.
August, September. So this
Yeah.
will be the foundation for our August, September budget. So depending on how
Yes.
much we invoice for the month of June, July, then the invoice will be due at the full moon of the July-August month, and then we'll use that invoice as the foundation for our budget for the August-September budget. Does everyone understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so the more we work and the more we get the work done for June, July, right, the more stable our budget will be for August, September.
True.
So we have to, as a business, we have to be thinking ahead. We're all in this together. Once we start doing our tokens, you'll see that we're all, it's a co-owned, cooperatively run business. And if we're going to be successful, we need to be thinking ahead. We can't just think of this month. We have to be thinking ahead to August, September. The work we do now is to bring in funds to cover our budgets for months in advance. Okay, everyone understand? All right, so let's go to our budget. So I remember last time we left this, we basically were considering doing the complex one, but it wasn't done. So I don't know if the complex one is done, but we also have our proposals, forms, results that we can go over.
I think complex is done. Jay, can you check? I think complex, you say you add some tab and I did it. Yes, there's a item.
Here's actual paid per month, actual hours
Yeah,
worked,
I add
and
the
then actual
Mhm.
money per hour. Okay, so this looks correct. It's like, how does it get so high for Teresa and Kenyatte? It's really weird.
I just forgot to put zero for Teresa and Kaina because they're not on budget.
All right, but I'm not sure why it got so high there. Either way, it's not worried too much about it. So average, actual, so these would be actual amounts, right? 1151. Oh yeah, I know. Jessica and Rachel. Well, this can't be right. So what's going on here? So average of
It is right, maybe. Yeah.
F5 divided by J5. All right, let's redo this. So this is going to be equal to this plus that, and then just divide by 2. There we go. That's better. Cool. So that's a little bit more reasonable.
You did it how?
Well, I just did the two numbers divided by 2, right? This is going to be 0, I don't know.
14 minutes into this topic.
All right. So this is reasonable. It gives us it's a start. You know, it's certainly not perfect. But at least we have the information that we need. So Rachel and Jessica are still towards the top, and then you've got. You
We can put Kainat and Teresa yellow, and here needs to be yellow.
Cool, awesome. All right, well this is getting there. Does it change anything else significantly as far as our? Says it puts Joyce and Aline further down, Abdul and Chagimi further down, Mahili, yeah. And so if you look at, let's say, you know, Lucy and Joseph, their normal budget would be, the requested budget is $393, but after work it comes down to $320 of the actual pay. You know, if we're averaging it. Although I'm thinking about potentially averaging it a 60-20 split, but we'll deal with that later. Cool. So any other questions on this? But I mean, I think overall we can see that there's not a substantial change. I mean, you have basically, you know, Jessica, Rachel, Albina, Steve, Razu, Lucy, Joseph. Okay. You have very similar ranking from the simple version. So the simple version has Jessica, Steve, Razu, Zilu, Abdul, Shagimi are a lot higher, Joyce, Aline, just Lucy, and Joseph. Yeah, cool. All right. So do we have the proposed results, or what's up with that? Oh, there's actually one other thing I could do. Right, this is simple budget. This is the old one. We don't need that anymore. So there's one other thing I could do with the complex version, which is here you have the actual money per hour, but you could also do the average, actual, and main buddy team hours. No, to be monthly pay. So this would be the actual budget, right? So this would be equal to this plus that divided by 2. We're actually talking about budgets. Right, so the actual pay is $493 versus here is $550. Not sure why it would go down, but I guess you're just getting paid less than you're requested because we had the budget crisis. All right, so does this make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So do we, here we go, HR board spreadsheet results. So we take a look at the results.
Yes.
So just so you understand the next steps on this. So on the simple version, we would take the lowest and we'd add the lowest. So we would do the same for the complex version, that we would add the lowest. And then we would be able to take the total requested and seeing how much money was over and how it would need to be divided out and changed based on the totals, right? So that's the only thing that's missing with the complex. But this would allow us to do that. All right, so here's our form responses and results Does anyone want to go over this? And then we can write down the results and what we got.
Yeah.
So far.
Maybe someone can go over because we did with the Albina and Joseph. And just check.
We did the telling.
So who did the HR board spreadsheet results? Who did that?
Lucy, Albina, and Joseph.
Okay, so can you guys present to us and let us know what we're looking at? And just give us a quick update on what it looks like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Albina, can you take us through? Or I will do.
Fine, let me open it.
We are 20 minutes into this topic.
Cool.
Okay, we had 3 options. 4. Option 1 says no reduction. No reductions, which means that the amount requested, and we had 4 baritems, 4 MBTs. The average vote is 8.066, which means that it passes.
What are you looking at right now? What are you looking at right now?
Pardon?
Which tab are you looking at?
The weighted.
You're looking at the weighted votes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You start from weighted, okay?
The first option has a yes of 90.2%, which means it passes.
90.2% yes. Okay.
Then second option, which is 1.5, cutting out Joyce and Alain because they are ranked lowest after reduction. The average result is 6.25, that is abstain. Yes vote is having 45.23%. It means it does not pass.
Almost at the middle.
Almost halfway the percentage. Option 2, with reduction only T0 to 3 and 1 T4. Abstain of 5, average 5. It does not pass because the yes is 21.58%. With abstain of 30.49 and no percent of 47.93. So it does not pass. Option 3, with reduction of all but local. The average is 3.9, which means this is not it's a no. The yes is 10.16.
Abstain.
No is 54.68. So this is a strong no. 54.68. Option 4, which is the last one.
Albina, can you let them know there is an option? That is why it would have been good when you start with the response. We have another option before option.
Okay, there is an option. Actually, we had an option.
Go to from responses. What? Responses.
This one was option 1, another option 1. T1 to 3 budgets with no reductions. No one voted there. Did not have any vote. So option 4, it has an abstain of 4.93. Average with the 27.34 percentage yes, and a strong no of 54.68. Does not pass. So the only option that passes is only option 1 with 90.20% strong yes.
Verified results.
91.92. Oh no, 90.2%. Yeah.
90.2.
Okie dokie dokie. All right. So any other questions for Albina?
Albina, take people through verified results because maybe some people maybe they don't know weighted result.
Just a minute. Okay. Okay, for verified results, here we just pick those people with the names, the right names. And if someone has voted like 2-3 times, we just pick the recent one. Then we do the average. Now you can see every option has average. From 1 to 3 is no. 4 to 6 is abstain. 7 to 9 is yes. So when you see we have average, option 1 is 8.06. Option 2, 1.5 is 6.25, which is abstain. Then option 2 is 5, still abstain. Option 1, another option 1, column F, no votes. No one voted on that one. Option 3, we have 3.9. This is no. Then option 4, we have 4.9285. This is also abstain. So the only option that passes is only option 1 with 8.06.
Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So all other options do not pass. Are there any other questions for Albina or any other questions in general about the results? Are there any concerns, like, questions? No more. Are there any concerns about the results? Like, as far,
Yes.
are there any concerns about the certification? Certification, as in like, error or in calculation or fraud. Are there any concerns about the certification and the calculations of the results? All right.
No question. But
are there any,
I think I have a question.
Are there any objections to certifying these results? Okay, so we all have agreement that the results are correct. Okay, questions about the results?
Yeah.
Any other questions in general about it? So option 1 passes. If we could link option 1 here, that would be good. Or we could just link our previous meeting, which has all of the options.
Yeah, we just link all of it.
Okay, let me try to find out also.
"29 minutes into this topic."
Okay, so no one has the link to the. Should I get it? Are you guys working on it or?
I'm just trying to find out. Copy.
I think the spreadsheet is already up there. Or we just copy and paste
I
the
think
Yeah,
I could just take it from.
The results.
I think I could just take it from here as well,
Yeah.
which I believe it is.
It's not coming.
I don't even remember though. No, let's wait till we get the link. I think we should take a break. We forgot to do our breaks. So whoever is doing timekeeping on our bottom of the hour and top of the hour is doing a bad job. So let's take a 5-minute break, and then we can get the links and get all the budget options, and then go over the rest of the budget. Okay, sound good?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
How many minutes? 5 minutes? Okay.
5 minutes, yeah.
Yes, I paste. I could optional.
I'm back.
The break is over.
Yeah.
Even you come back for session, guys. Break, let me write. Break time is over.
All right.
Oh,
Ready to get started?
Back.
All right, so let's start it again here. Just so you guys know, in the future, we want to add the annual budget for each person. You can see how I did this in the new budget series. So you have Jessica and Rachel, $3,960. Asif, Razu, and Zilu, $5,760. So it gives a much closer representation of the budgets. All right, so done with that. So basically here, what's important to note here is that we keep Jessica, Rachel, Asif, Razu, Zilu, Abdul, Shagimi, Joyce, Eileen, Lucy, Joseph, Albina, and Steve up. And then we let go of /fire.
Mazi, Asif.
Mahidi, Mamoon, Mazi, Asif. Mazi, Asif, Iqbal.
Teresa. Oh, already they are not there.
Teresa is already not on here. Steve and Evelyn. Steve, Evelyn. Mel and Melinda. I think that's everyone.
Mm.
So it would be 8 people.
8 people.
We got 2740. So the other thing that's important to note here is that if the total budget is 2740, and then our total income is 960, what was it?
886.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 856.
886.
So we're
Eight,
in the
9.
red.
What Plaza Albina? New World.
Yeah, the total come up. Let me check again.
Check for New World. And the
We're in the red by 1,854. So
definitely will have been red because we don't work as a team. Not everybody is even showing up to do our work.
and who would that be?
And also, out of all the client works, we are only doing Plasma and
like since full moon. Aline, she has never even communicated up to now. She gave me. She has not communicated. Sibrazu. Even Abdul, I just saw him when he only had coming with any message. You can see only Abdul. I remember even Albina writing Abdul message to verify if he's going to be available to do verification. Like our payroll now is stuck. No one should do verification because we are we assign ourselves to do overseeing. That is a very major issue. People are not committed enough to do the work. Even there is no
and then
communication.
what about, so the only other person that we don't have here would be Joyce. So is Joyce doing okay? I mean,
But at
she's
least
busy.
communicated with she,
I think Joyce was saying she's going for,
like
I don't know.
2 weeks. I think I had her say.
Oh,
Yes,
right.
she did. She communicated.
So I mean, I guess here the proposal would be, let's hit some options. So option one would be to approve and move forward with the above vote. So this was 2,740. Option two, to remove further people, specifically,
Who are not showing up.
who are not showing up yet. Who are not showing up. So if we did this, the only problem that leaves is Asif Razu. Right, Asif Razu obviously. Well, actually, it would be Asif Razu and Eileen. So if we kept Joyce and we kept Ilu, then you have Asif Razu and Eileen, who are connected to Joyce and Zilu. So if you had buddy team Joyce and Zilu, that would be ideal, because then you could just cut everybody, right? So
Yes.
we have to figure out what we want to do about that. Anyway, so we know it could cut at least, 450, Abdul and Shagimi. So that would be 2,000. $290. So option number 3 would be to, get under 2,000, and option number 4 would be to get under our $1,000 amount. I guess we could have another option, get under 1,500. So I think the only other thing I would say in regarding to our outcome here of the vote is that it's obvious that people want to get paid their full requested amounts, regardless of how many people get fired. I think that's, for me, the primary outcome. I guess the only other thing I would throw out here is local SFA and physical paperwork. What do we do about that? So, because if we cut Melinda and Mel, it doesn't give us a lot of options there.
Yeah.
That is why we prefer to keep those who are active. If we cut those who are not active, then we can bring at least maybe one person from local back. I don't know.
Okay, so basically you're saying, remove people who are not active, approve Mel and Melinda based on HR vote for, so this would be $500 for Melinda, $0 for Mel.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes.
Because Mel's not really doing too much, and she didn't really work on the grants, and I don't know what's going on with her, but Melinda has been working, so, and she's willing to even do less than 500. She basically wants to keep going, so that's good. So the question would be, how do we remove other people? So the easiest way to remove Asif, Razu, and Eileen is to also remove Joyce and Zilu, and then that would basically mean like, you know, Zilu, you need to get a new buddy team. You know, like Asif, Razu doesn't fit in your buddy team. If you look at the new updated rankings, we see that Asif, Razu, and Zilu are still ranked pretty high. But I'm not sure exactly what to do about Asif, Razu.
It's simple. Zilu will communicate to the Joyce to make the ballot.
Well, that is definitely an option, yes. Mm-hmm.
Abdul and Raju are going to fully involve after Eid ul-Fitr, that is coming after 3 days later, and they will be 100% active from the next week, as per my concern.
There is no communication.
Yeah, they will Skype on some session.
No.
Or Skype group the message.
They did not.
We cannot lie, Zilu. The only message that I know for Abdul coming and announcing as Mihedi father died, silent. Again coming, Mihedi has this problem, silent. There is nothing Abdul even saying, I'm on this, I'm doing this. Like what's the rest?
Question on Skype group, he was asking that next group he will be fully involved. But Raju is not.
So one thing is for sure with Abdul and Shagimi. You look at Abdul and Shagimi, they are currently in New World. And so the New World has no budget. So you can cut Abdul and Shagimi just based on the fact that they just don't fit in the budget, which is you know, $30 whatever for the New World. Right? So the New World got $37. So I mean they didn't do any client work. Shagimi's not doing any work, Abdul's not doing work. I mean, maybe if Abdul wants to step up and do work, he needs a new buddy that's not Shagimi who doesn't do any work. Right?
Yeah. That will be better.
Maybe Abdul and Asif Razu should consider doing a buddy team together.
Yeah.
You know, and Abdul's situation's more difficult as well because of his back pay that he's got paid a lot in the past. So his average is still pretty high. And it'll probably take a while for it to go down, but it will go down eventually. So so remove people who are not active. So this would include Abdul, Shagimi, and let's say active and doing client work, right? I mean, they need to be doing client work. And then we can add back in Melinda.
But okay, remove Shigemi, Aline.
Well, if we remove Eileen, we have to do Joyce as well.
No, Joyce will make a buddy team with Zilu.
I know, but that's up to them to do that. They would have to, like, in order for us to remove Asif, Razu, and Eileen from the budget, we also would have to remove Joyce and Zilu from the budget, and then it's up to Joyce and Zilu to create their own buddy team. They can choose anyone in the world. They don't have to. They could they could also redo their proposal with, you know, Zilu and Asif Razu could redo their proposal to try to get it repassed by the HR board. Does that make sense?
Yes. Even Teresa need a buddy team. We just cut them, and Zilu will just have to look for the buddy team and come back.
Yeah.
Likewise to Joyce, because of their buddy teams that are not active. That is on. We cannot keep people who don't communicate. They're not active. They're not moving this organization forward.
Okay, so let's go to initial options. So this is budget options. So let's do an initial option. So options for removing additional people. So option number 1, be don't remove anyone. Option 2, only remove New World. So this would be Abdul and Shagimi. Is there anyone else in New World? I don't think there's anyone else in New World. Oh, actually, I remember what we were going to add. There was one other potential income source that we were going to add. which was going to be government, compliance, and this is local.
We have those of Jessica that from New York.
Better. Okay. So
Migedi.
Rachel and Jessica are also on there.
Yeah, Migedi also. Migedi
Mehedi,
and Mamun.
Mehedi and Mamun have already been removed.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So this is option for moving additional people after option 1. That make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So option 1 is. Oh, thank you. Probably getting hot. All right. So option 1 is don't remove anyone else. Right. Option number 2 is only remove New World not active. So it'd be Abdul and Shigimi. Option number 3 would be remove New and Old World. So this would include Abdul and Shigimi. Joyce and Eileen and Asif.
Julian.
And Zilu. I think we could go and obviously do another option 4, right? Which would be Old World and then say not active, right? And this would be plus Asif plus half active. Right, so I mean, we could say that Joyce and Eileen, obviously, she is not active right now, but she has been in the past and she is communicating. But anyways, so but either way, it's like easier to cut Joyce because she's not as active, whereas Zilu is here right now. Does that make sense? So that would be option 4.
Yeah.
Are there any other options anyone can think of?
Other option should be give them notice, and after notice duration, if they don't show up, then they cut them directly.
I think everyone's already gotten
No,
notice.
we have a proposal, Zilu. I don't know when you are there that time. We had a proposal whereby if you don't come, you need to put a message. And even there was a time we sent, she gave me a message. She was on a service stop. They did not show. We already have a proposal. There is no need of, at least we look like we are breaking time. We have many people who need job. Serious people that can move all of us ahead because this work, we work as a team. Even though you do 100% plan work as Zilu, you still have, we zero work if I'm not doing client work.
So anyways, I will just note here that everybody's had 2 weeks notice except for Asif, Razu, and Zilu. So that would require 2 weeks notice. So for option 4 to go forward, we have to give Asif, Razu, and Zilu 2 weeks to set up their new buddy teams, etc., etc. Everybody else has 2 weeks notice already. Okay. So the only other people that don't have 2 weeks notice is Jessica and Rachel. Right, so Jessica, Rachel, and Asif, Razu, and Zilu, because their rank's so high, did not get 2 week notice. So that would mean if we want to remove them from the budget, they would get an additional 2 weeks all the way up until the full moon in order to get a new buddy team and get approved back into the budget. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so any other options for removing more people?
I think the first option that you come up for me was very much okay. Removing those who have not acted so that we add Melinda and Mel.
Well, that's what this does, right? So this allows us to add other people into the budget. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll cover that in the budget options next. So let's just see where we're at with these options and vote on this real quick, and then see how much flexibility we have. Okay. So I'll vote first. I would support option number 2 and option number 3 Lucy, Steve O.
I will vote option number 2, option number 3.
Okay. Steve O. Albina. Jessica.
2 and 3 for me.
So Jessica's voting for 2 and 3 as well. Steve O. Albina. Zilu.
2, 3.
Albina, you're doing 2 and 3 as well?
2, 3.
Zilu? Steve?
I want to option 2.
3.
Zilu, you just vote number 2?
Yeah.
And Steve, you only vote number 3?
Yes.
Yeah, Steve also voting number 3 only.
All right, so I think that gets us all tied up, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't I have 6 people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what's going on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who are we missing? 1, 2, 3.
No.
What?
1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh no,
5.
everybody voted. They just didn't vote for everyone. Okay, so we're tied 5-5. All right, so so now
Let's do by numbers.
no, we just narrowed it down to 2. You gotta choose. So you either gotta choose option 2 or you gotta choose option 3.
I'm going for option 3.
All right, so Lucy is option 3.
Also me, 3.
Albina's option 3.
3, 2.
Jessica is option 3.
My name is already there. Option 3.
Yeah, we got you there. Yeah, I don't really know myself.
You should know.
I'm gonna vote for option 2 just because. Okay, so but option 3 wins and has the most number of votes. So the proposal is to remove Abdul and Shagimi, buddy team Abdul and Shagimi, and Joyce and Aline, as well as other people because of inactivity, and they can do new buddy teams for changes in proposals for the HR board. So this is the proposal. Any questions about the proposal? Questions about the proposal? No questions. All right, any concerns? No concerns. Okay. Let's go ahead and do roll call vote. So we got Steve, and we're doing numbers here, right? Steve, Lucy, Albina, Zulu, Jessica, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm gonna vote a 6.8. Steve, Lucy, Albina, you voted. What's your vote?
Yeah, 7.5.
Okay, thank you.
8.
Lucy's an 8.
Yes.
6.5 for me.
Jessica's a 6.5. Zulu, Steve.
3.5.
Zulu's a 5.5. Steve.
6.
A 6. All right, let's see what we got here. Uh, 6 plus 8 plus 5.7, 7.5 plus 6.8 plus
5, 6.
5.5 plus 6.5 divided by
6.7.
6.71 average. 6.71. So that passes. It passes. It's definitely not consensus. So you have agreement. All right. So So we're gonna need to notify Joyce, Aline, Abdul, Shagimi that they are not in the budget and they need to make an HR board proposal or something else and work something out. So let's see what that leaves us in with our budget here. So let's just make a little I think it's just this, right?
We are 20 minutes into the topic.
Okay. So is that our budget right there? Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so that gets us down to 1840. And then if we add in Mel and Melinda, which was going to require HR board vote for Mel and Melinda could be up to like $500. So that would take us up to plus 500, be 2340, 2340. So that would be option 2. Okay, so so this would be option 2. Right, and then option 3 would be going even smaller, getting under 2,000. So this would be begin reductions, going under more reductions, and major reductions. So I think that is pretty clear. Can anyone think of any other options?
So, Jay, are we going to vote again for this budget?
Yep, and then it's going to go back to the HR board. Yes.
Which option are we going to second round? Okay, this is a second round. So which option?
Okay, so the option that we just voted on and we just did is option 2. Option number 1 would be going back to the original budget, which is this one up here for 2740 with everybody. Right, so that's option number 1. Option number 2 is the budget we just did, right? So it cuts it down to 1, 2, 3, 4 main buddy teams. Option number 3 is getting under $2,000, which would begin doing like some reductions, right? Also, this would include adding in, we have a couple new people like Wahoo, and maybe Teresa, etc., and others for main buddy teams. I think I have their main buddy team here. Well, maybe not. I think they linked it.
Are we going to include this other budget also? The first one that we already passed?
So there it says it's 350 requested. I still don't think this is correct though, but who's this? That's Wahoo. So Wahoo wants to, Camille, Tom. All right, so that could be about 350 for them. What was your question, Lucy?
So on a voting, my concern is, are we still going to put the proposal that's already passed, the first one?
The option number 1?
Okay, I thought maybe you put the other one that passed before. Okay.
No, that's the one without.
Okay.
Now,
So option number 1 is the proposal that passed by the voting form, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Voting form, right? Option number 2 is the one we just went through that cut out people who currently aren't active.
Okay. The question is,
Uh-huh.
why should we repeat what you already passed? It's just going to be passed because no one is going to vote on something like if you say you remove this somebody. No one is going to vote on that again. The same scenario is gonna be happening. Then the thing that we discussed, like we remove our inactive people, it's just going to come back with the same way.
I don't
Option
understand.
1 is going still continuing going to pass if we're still going to use that one. I thought to consider only option 2 and down. It's just like it's like a lesson so that they have to think for you to remain in budget. You also need to be
Lucy, what
active.
are you trying to say? What is your question and what is your concern?
My question is, why should we include option 1 and it's already passed again? Because
we aren't the ones who make the decision. The decision is made by the HR board. That's why.
That was not a HR board they voted that we did.
Okay, well, it needs to go to the HR board. It said HR board voting form on it, but whatever.
So what happened if that the same option passed?
Okay, Lucy, it has to be included there because if it passes, it means that now option 2 and other options will not pass. So we need to include also option 1.
Then there is no need of us saying this is an inactive people we include because it's not gonna pass.
But what does pass is that, first of all, anything that we vote on now this is the new moon session. So if anyone cared about the budget, they would show up, right? So whatever we pass now is the budget, right? So what that means is that based on the voting of the HR board and the online voting, that is just going to change the outcome so that at the quarter moon, we can discuss it more and figure it out. But the point is that we have a shared balance of power between people who show up and people who don't show up at the sessions. And we need to work it out. If there's not agreement, we keep figuring out to find a solution that works for everyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if Abdul and Shagimi cared, they would be here right now, right? If Joyce and Aline really cared about it, they would be here right now. So if we pass option number 2 right now, they're cut from the budget automatically. They can't work this week, right? That's just the deal. So then they have to wait, do an HR board proposal, see what's going to happen, and then maybe in a week they can get put back in the budget. But there's no guarantee for that, So if you want to work with us, your ideal scenario is you're not getting cut from the budget at all. They get cut from the budget, and then the question is whether they get put back in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that this $2,740, even if it's passed, this is not going to fly, right? I mean, we have in our budget, we've got what was it? $886. So it's in the red by $1,854. That's basically $2,000 of free money. Let's just give away $2,000 of free money to do nothing. Like that's outrageous. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to fly. I'm actively engaged in unlike I don't think anyone else is, but we always are doing outreach and recruitment. And so I'm working on outreach and recruiting new volunteers, as well as trying to get Teresa back, and there's Wahoo and other people who are interested in working, and there's also Tom, and if we can fit them in the budget and keep the budget under 2,000, I think this would be fair. I think this is a really good option, right? So this would be keep our current keep option 2, and make sure we can add new recruits and people, and also keep the budget under 2,000. Right, so this is I think the option number 3 is very reasonable. Let's just say about 2,000. Because obviously this one with new recruits is going to equal almost 20. So if we had 350s, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2,700. Right, so this one is going to be around, 2,300, 2,000 to 2,300, right?
So these new recruits are from which OPTA?
Everyone will be going into the new world because the new world is basically cut, right? So we're cutting the new world because the new world ain't doing any work. And so our new budget, wait, where did it go? Why do I keep losing it? Here it goes. Now remember, this is not correct. So it's $33 for New World and $856 for Old World, right?
Yeah.
So this is the current situation. So the idea is the New World needs to get cut and we need to hire new people into the New World. Does that make sense? And that includes people like Tom, Wahoo. Tom is temporary because he just needs help.
Are these new people from local or from which parts?
No, these are not local. Tom is just temporary because he could use some help. Similar to Steve, he worked with Scale Change before, and Scale Change has kind of fallen apart. And we support Sales Change, right? So, anyways, the point is that Tom, Wahoo, Teresa would be good to add these people in, and then from there, we would add them to New World. So we want to give New World some more life and energy and train them on doing invoicing and get them involved in client work. Okay, so that's option 3. Option 4 is basically this is where you really start real reductions. So this is like real reductions. Option number 5, major, real and major reductions. This is basically just giving some room for some new people.
So which time will those new recruits will be showing off?
What?
The time that they will be showing off, especially because someone who is a new recruit, we need at least somebody who is especially on your time. Like for us, we usually sacrifice ourselves to not leave to join Cabal session, which is late. But not everyone is gonna be doing that. If we recruit people, let's just recruit especially people from your time zone.
Yeah.
Well, the only way to recruit people from our time zone and local is to pay them like, $5,000 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever, So
Yes.
We don't really have the income to do that right now. We don't have that kind of money. So basically there's people who want to work like you and want to be up at different times the day and night, and so if they want to do it, we should allow them to do it. If they don't want to do that, they don't have to do it. But right now, while our budget's really low, we don't have much of another option because we simply just don't have the income to do anything else. Does that make sense?
Yes, we'll just try them.
But I certainly agree. Yeah. So for me, the number 1 priority is just cutting the budget. If we can cut the budget and keep the budget grounded, I mean, I can do a lot of work on my own if I'm not busy dealing with everyone else's problems all the time. So let's get the payroll done. Let's get our
also, Jay, can we see their budget also?
Yeah.
300 to them. We do not vote for. I think every recruit, according to our policy, we have to vote for them before they're allowed to join.
Not if they fit. Not if they rank higher than everybody else. Right. So you can have automatic budget ranking based on our public budgeting and our public accountability. Right. But the point is that obviously I can link this and show you it here. The problem with their budget is it doesn't make sense. There's major issues here. So for example, Tom's requested is not $200. This is wrong, right? So I could make that red. It's just not correct, right? Camille's upfront $2 a month. I mean, that's not correct either. That I don't know what that is. And $100, that sounds right. So the $100 sounds right. So I mean, this $350 and lowest 0, I don't think that's correct. You know, and then the idea that this would be 350 for 51 and this is 350 for 31 ideal, it doesn't make sense. So basically their budget doesn't make sense. It's like they're just beginning to get it set up. So it could be a while before they even get approved into the budget at all. And this isn't even the criteria. They haven't even begun to meet the criteria. They have to meet all the criteria. They have to have their personnel profiles and all that set up before they can start working. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But here, let me link this right here so you can see it. And then we'll go over the recruitment. But we have to do recruitment. I mean, you guys said it yourself, like the people that we have aren't doing the work. We need to hire people who are going to do the work and just keep finding people who until we find people who can do the work. And again, we need to focus on volunteer recruitment for New World, primarily because we just don't have the money to pay people the wages that they need to get paid in the New World because it's too expensive. Okay?
Yeah, I think the thing is when we recruit people, we usually see someone who is going to be serious and help us, like Teresa. Teresa and Mehedi, out of all the general team that we recruit, those are the only 2 people at least you can see we can move, we can do something.
I agree. So, but that's what's always going to happen when we recruit people. We recruit like 5 or 10 people, and then there's only 1 or 2 of them that actually work out, right? So the question that I have is, why are we all allowing Teresa to fall through the cracks? Like, why is she not able to do a main buddy team? I just don't understand. Like, any of these people could add a third person to their main buddy team. Boom, Teresa's in. Why isn't she part of our main buddies teams? Like, we're excluded. You guys are all excluding Teresa. You guys understand? Like, Teresa is not being supported in the team.
No, not like that day. I think there was a message on Hangout. Joy said, Teresa, right? We make a buddy team with the Teresa. So, and again, after that, again, we removed Teresa. I was like, what is going on? I was confused. I don't know why you make a buddy team with someone and again you remove.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. All that matters is your relationship with Teresa. I don't care what Joyce does. I don't care what Tom does. I don't care what anyone else does. All that I care about is what you do. You shouldn't be talking on behalf of Joyce or on behalf of other people. If you want Teresa in your main buddy team, you ask her to be in your main buddy team. It has nothing to do with anyone else. If everyone wants Teresa on their main buddy team, then she has 5 main buddy teams to choose from, and it's up to her to empower her to decide which buddy team to be on. If you don't offer Teresa to be on your main buddy team, then don't talk, okay? It's not up to you to talk bad about Joyce. Joyce tried to help. She couldn't. Move on, all right? There's nothing you need to say about that. If you want Teresa on your main buddy team, all you need to say is to add her to your main buddy team, not to talk bad about Joyce, okay? Does that make sense?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, just add her to your main buddy team if you want her. You need to get agreement from your main buddies, and you add her, right? And I mean, let's, we talk about people not being particularly active. Joseph, I don't know what Joseph is doing either. Like, he's another person that we could have more.
No, Joseph is showing up every time, but because he only showing up during Zuri time.
Okay, but we should also see on like what he's been working on and what's going on the Skype. So let's just make sure to make it clear what he's working on. All right. So, anyways, I think we're ready to move on, and the recruitment will continue, and we'll continue to figure out a recruitment, and we'll find more people. But we need to step it up and do our outreach and connect into Facebook, connect into the social media and our email lists, and actually start functioning as an organization. Because right now it's just like, I feel like it's just like most of my time is working to support you guys instead of the other way around, right? It's like a lot of time is spent on payroll to pay you and budgeting to budget you guys and doing all this work, as opposed to paying you guys to focus on the work of the external community and bringing in our whole community together to work together as a community. Like this session, it shouldn't just be with us, right? We should be inviting like many other people, right? The Earth session should have like 30, 40, 50 people invited to it. The Mars session should have hundreds of people invited to it. If we're the only ones showing up, it's just ridiculous, so we need to get over ourselves and be like, look, this is not about us. This is about doing the work and inviting the community and bringing the world together to make the world a better place. All right. So let's just do our best and see if we can step it up so that we can start getting more interaction and engagement with our whole network and our whole community. And that starts with the sponsorship program. I mean, we need our sponsorship program functional, and right now it ain't. So, right. So we have, when we look at the recruitment budget, that's where we can start looking at this potential. I mean, we have the potential to bring in $4,330. If we can't do all this work ourselves, then we need to hire more people, right? Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, Lucy, or does that sound good, or what?
I have no question.
Cool.
Yeah.
But I do want to thank
Can we
Lucy. Zilu.
Yeah, can we take a break for 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
Yeah,
yeah,
we
yeah,
are
stop that.
actually 15 minutes past the top of the second hour.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take another break. And during the break, people can vote. I would vote for option 3 myself, so I'm going to put my name here. So everyone can just add their names to options that they want to vote for, and then we'll come back, we'll go through it, and then we can move on from the budget. We'll be done.
Okay, 3 minutes break.
Cool, yeah. And I do want to thank Lucy. I want to thank Zilu and Albina for stepping up and being involved in the global sessions and everything, or at least the Americas sessions and global sessions. So, I mean, I don't know where we'd be without that. And I'm happy and excited that we are, increasing people's pay. But it's like we need to realize that we're cutting out a lot of people from the budget. So if you guys are just doing this to get paid more yourselves and it's not out of your needs, then that would be really bad. So hopefully, this works out, but it's my budget is severely cut. So if everyone else is increasing their pay rate, it's like maybe I should increase my pay rate too. It's like, oh my goodness. All right. Break, 5 minutes.
Thank you.
All right. Are we ready to, anyone ready to finish up here?
Yeah, back.
All right. So so we just need to vote. Let's get voting on these options. Then let's go ahead and cover the New World / Octant budgets. And then we'll be good to go. So shall we start with the voting?
Yes.
Lucy, Jessica, Albina, Zilu, Steve. Which one? So we have option number 1, option number 2, option number 3, option number 4, and option number 5. I'm gonna go ahead and vote for option number 4 as well, just for fun. Albina, Zilu,
I'm going option 2. Lucy.
Lucy. Lucy's option 2. Okay.
And
Albina's option number 2. Is that you, Albina?
Option 2.
Jessica's option 2. Zilu's option 3.
Yeah.
And that leaves Steve out.
Option 2.
All right.
Option 2.
Awesome. Okay, so I think that's done. So basically, we have option 1, 2, and 3. So we can cut out option 4 and 5. I think we'll be okay without those for now.
Yeah.
And then we have option 1, 2, and 3. I think are all reasonable. So this would be pretty clear. So let's just go ahead and make it see what this looks like if we do this. Well, actually, we could just so if we have $2,000 and we have the total requested would be $500 from Melinda. How do we fix that? Not sure how to deal with that. Well, let's just pretend like they're Steve and Evelyn. All right, so we've got Jessica, Asif, and Zilu, Lucy and Joseph, Albina, and Steve. And then there would be one additional 3. Let's just do Abdul and Shagimi. So it's $27.90. So total requested is $27.90, which would be a reduction of between, it'll be about 11, 12, between 11 and 19% reductions to get to the 2,000 mark. So let's do the $2,300 mark. And that is a little bit more reasonable. So this would be potential Melinda. And then you have potential Wahoo Tom. All right, So this would be like 500. And this would be like 350. Actually, this would probably be less because we're reducing it down. So let's say it's 450 or 400. And this would be like 350 or 300. So let's see what that adds up to. $2,216. All right. So I mean, I think these are pretty reasonable. It's a minimal cut and I mean, basically what you guys are saying that we're firing all these people, but I want to raise. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, it's good.
So that's why I think something like this would be more reasonable. That's why I'm not supporting option number 2, because I think it's sort of a little bit, intense. All right, but anyways, if the HR board votes for option number 2, that's basically what gets passed. So let's just see what we can work out here. We have option number 1, option number 2, option 3. So the next steps here would be to do the HR board vote. Who's going to do that? Lucy and Albina?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Awesome. All right. I think we are good to go with the overall budgets. Any other questions on the overall budgets? All right, so we have a pretty clear direction. It basically makes sure everyone's getting paid at least about 10%. I mean 90% of what their requested was, which is pretty good deal. So basically everybody who's here right now is guaranteed at least 90% of their requested. All right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. All right.
So,
What?
as per option 3.
Option 3, like worst case scenario, it's 90% of your requested.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so let's move on to the new world and Octant and old world Octant budgets, right? So the problem here is obviously that there's only 856 in the old world. And if you take, let's just do the minimal. So you have Albina, Asif, Razu, I think it's, well, let's just take this whole thing here. Well, no, let's do the minimal one just so that we can get some real numbers. So if we do the minimal, I believe all of this is all old world.
No, except Jessica. Jessica and Teresa. I mean, Jessica and Rachel are new world.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jessica and Rachel could choose to not do new worlds. That's 1,244. So option 3 is equal to 1,244. Option 2 is, add that. $1,510. So 1,244 minus 856 is 388. And 1,510 minus 856 is 654. Okay. So this would be old world over budget. And Jessica, you want to stay in the new world, right? Jessica,
Just you want to get
Yes.
you want to stay in the new world, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, we need to get you focused on some client work. So, what do you guys see here? Option 2 and 3. So what is it? What's the plan? Do we just do, is it Albina and Steve-O? You know, with option 3, you could get away with just Albina and Steve-O. With option 2, it would need to be 2 buddy teams. Or you need to reduce the budget.
Come up again.
Okay, so we all understand that the current old world budget is $856, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the current budget's $856. Current budget is $856. So that means that in option 2, it's $654 in the red. And then option number 3, it's $388 in the red.
How many people option 3?
What?
So option 3 is how many buddy teams that are going to remain? MBT?
Well, without Jessica and Rachel, you have 3 buddy teams. So we're going to delete that. So it's just, you know, it's option number 2. You basically can have 1 buddy team, right? Wait a second. This doesn't make any sense. So that's option 2. What is that? Option 2. Let's put these in order. So here's option 2, and here's option 3. So, and Jessica and Rachel are not included. So I think I might have just added up incorrectly. Let's see, 480 plus 550 plus 480 is equal to 1510. No, that's correct. Right? And then this one is 1244. So basically the old world is $856, right? This is the work that was done. And so basically you'd have to move people to the new world, or you need to reduce your budget. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So option 1 is, oh, it looks like this is, oh, Irene. Oh, hello, it's Wahoo. Hi, Wahoo. Okay, so, are we on the same page? Does everyone understand? So option 1 is to send people to new world. Option 2 is to cut the budget to fit in old world budget. So this would be 1.5 main buddy teams, and this one would be 1 main buddy team. So this would be 3 people, and this would be 1 person. Are you guys understanding me here, or are we not?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to just figure this out at the dynamic session, or do you guys want to figure it out now?
Let's figure out now.
Let's just figure it out now.
So Zilu, Albina, Steve-O, Lucy, what do you guys want to do?
Yeah, let's get it.
What I would say, if no one wants to do anything, then I would say that it would be like, you know, Albina's ranked lowest. You would cut Albina. Although we could look at this new complex ranking. Let's see what the new complex ranking is, since this one is a little bit more accurate. So it looks to me like Lucy and Joseph are actually ranked the lowest. So in that context, if Lucy and Joseph are ranked the lowest, then you would just go ahead and put Lucy and Joseph in New World, and that gets you for option 3, and then option 2, you would add like Lucy, Joseph, and Stiva, or Lucy, Joseph, and Albina, or whatever. And then you basically have a balanced budget.
I don't understand, Jay.
You don't understand what? The idea that the budget's not balanced?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, if you take the $856 and you divide it by 3, you get $285. According to the invoice, you guys did $285 of client work, right? You had $285 of actual client work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we give you 3 times that, because if you only had that amount, you'd be totally screwed all the time. So you multiply that by 3, you get your $856 times 3 is equal to $856. So you're already getting an extra 2 times the money you would have had, because you have more than just client work to do. You have to do your internal operations. You also have to do your meetings and planning and coordination like we're doing now. But again, we don't have all day, right? The clock's always ticking, and we're always like having to do with our budgets. And so therefore it's important to not just sit here and have silence every time I ask a question about what you guys want to do here. We've got to do it and move on, right? Otherwise you have even less time and you end up even more cut.
No, it's just you who decide to rank low, and if you cut well and good, we move ahead for the budget. Those people who fit in budget, they continue. Sorry.
Okay, so but whatever, all I'm trying to say is that you have $856 and you're budgeting $1,510 with option 2, and you're budgeting $1,244 with option 3. Either of these options are not a balanced budget and don't work. So you need to move somebody to the New World to work in the Jello team. Does that make sense?
Do we have a budget in agility?
Yes, that's where we send people who don't fit in the budget anywhere else. We just approved the overall budget, right? So the overall budget is either going to be for option 2 is about $2,700, right? And then with option 3, it's going to be about $2,300. Okay? So those are the approved budgets, which would include both Jello and Old World. So do people understand like what's going on yet? Or should I say it again or what? I mean, we've been talking about this for over 6 months, that you guys do the invoice, you do the work. Based on the work that you have is the amount of money that your octant has to be able to budget. Otherwise, you can't just have a bunch of people that aren't doing work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically the 6 of you need to decide who's going to the Jello team, or you need to cut your budget to fit within your income. You can't just get free money. Like we're not here. We're not the FQN free money clinic. You know what I mean? It's not just, we're not just here giving out free money. That's not our goal.
Yeah, but we should focus on which team is doing the client work. Like if jury team is doing the client work most and bringing money, then they should allow to keep. And this team is not doing the client work, then they should cut off. Not on the main body team proposals and main body team proposals rate.
Sure thing. Yeah, I would agree.
I think Zulu
like if Lucy and Joseph and Albina and Steve is higher ranking team, and I and Raju is going to lower ranker, but we did the most client work, so we will either then we are going to cut off for this way.
For me, Zulu, I don't see that will be an issue, because if you say like who did more work.
This is not actually issue. This is the process standing when we are going.
Okay, wait. Then yes, that's your
Not for
opinion.
now. This is for the future. If we
Okay.
do figure out the which team is doing the client work, they should be kept.
Okay, let
Another-
me now bring my opinion.
Okay,
Because if you see like most of this work that
We are now
doing
starting from the main body team
always
proposals,
work
right?
on those work. Like if we have like something coming like budget, payroll, we have to do all those work. Like if we have voting form, we have to focus on that priority thing that we need to get done. But the thing is, can we all of us cooperate and work? Because not all of us can do client work. If indeed all of us really work, some others people can do the tunnel and others can do client work. We boost that. That is why it is called community network. We
Exactly.
support each other.
Yes, and that is technically. I mean, we haven't gotten to our weekly check-ins yet, but basically, there's still work for last week's check-in that we need to go over. So someone needs to send the link on Skype, and the co-chairs would be going on hard stop, right, until it is done. But the point is that the whole old world team together is responsible for 33% client work, right? So if the whole team together does 33% client work and you reach your budget and your time, you do it all, because it's a 3x, right, times 1/3, which is 33%, will equal everyone getting paid their pay rate correctly, right? So the key is that if you keep to the 32%, if one person A does 66% client work, and person B does 0% client work, right? And instead they do let's say 66% internal ops instead and 0% client work, then it works out.
The weekly check-in day, is it for week 3 or week 4? The hard stop.
This would be for week 3. There were still problems with it.
Zilu, because we are changing on other things.
No, the percentage figured out and it's now correct, but need to finalize the calculation with the proper way.
Which calculation in proper way? Which way?
Yes, they were asking to do some calculation there.
Well, I can help do the calculation. Just send me the
Just
updated
yeah,
form.
we do away with that thing because we are adding more complications on top of it.
It shouldn't be any more complicated. It should be simplified. All we want the percentages, the hours, and the money, and then I can help put the calculations in. All the calculations will be automatic every week. So what we need to do is we just need to do to make sure that the correct numbers are in there and send it to me. You haven't sent it to me, so that's probably all that's missing.
This is the correct one, but
the calculation was okay. We were to include the weekly hours and the amount.
Okay, great. So anyways, that can be dealt with later. Let's get this budget finalized. Let's get the budget finalized, and you need to send it in the Skype. We can't do that now. The point is that it's 33% client work. If the team does the client work, it doesn't matter who is doing it, but everyone's responsible for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone needs responsibility for it, and the way you take responsibility for it is saying, like, if we don't bring in the money to cover the expenses of the team, then the expectation is that we have to cut the budget. So the question is, how are we going to cut the budget? Another option would be to send a CFREZU, a CFREZU who hasn't been very active. Maybe you should send a CFREZU to the Jello team.
Yes.
And both Lucy and Albina have been very active during Jello hours anyway, so maybe you could send one of them and at least get the 2 people for option 3. But the point is that let's just do it. I mean, this shouldn't be unexpected. This should be what you would expect to happen.
I think moving to Jello, I think we are always doing both Jello and all that during Cobalt time. We are always there. So what's next is there. If I choose to, I usually work there every time during Cobalt time, even Albina. So what next do we do? Our work, can we then separate our work that we work during Jello, we put it on New World?
Yeah, so the only thing that changes by going to the Jello team is that your invoicing would go to the New World and your involvement would be that you wouldn't be allowed to, do the New World verification. But that's all that changed. I mean, it's not a huge change. It's just saying that you're more involved and engaged in the New World as opposed to the Old World being your primary team. Right?
What happened if you move Razu to New World?
Then he would need to show up. He would need to show up at Cobalt in Sonic sessions.
Yeah. We can ask him. I'm not sure.
Zulu, did you link the weekly check-in? We see the problem.
I linked on the doc.
Cost calculation, we change the calculation.
So, I mean, it sounds to me like you guys don't know what you want to do. So basically, you would have until the dynamic session, and then the whole Old World team would go on hard stop if you don't know what you're going to do. Does that make sense?
We decide Razu is going to Jello.
Yeah.
So is that a proposal? Or
I think it is. I don't know. If Razu go to Jello, I think it will make sense.
Okay, but you still need one more person at least one more person. Okay, so anyways, the point is that, the Old World team is automatically on soft stop, right? And we'll have until dynamic session on Thursday and then goes on hard stop. Okay? Does that make sense? Like you need, if you don't want to do it now, then it needs to happen by the dynamic session, and that's basically where we're at. Like that's the policy. And the reason we didn't do this last month is simply because last month we didn't have the invoice completed. So we couldn't do it. So this month now we have the invoice, which is required. We can calculate exactly how much money was brought in and exactly how much is budgeted. And we can obviously see that it doesn't match. That's a problem. So just send some people over to Jello for the month, and then we can switch it all next month, bring in the money. Let's actually do the work. It'll be perfectly fine. All right.
What about now MBT, Zulu, and Razu? If both of them go, is it going to work?
I mean, that's up to them, but they're ranked the highest in your team. And Zilo also does a lot of client work. So it's up to you guys to decide how you want to do it. But in the end, what matters is getting agreement.
The other thing, Zilo always working alone. He don't work with any other person. His work does alone. He don't even communicate on Skype. Yes,
I'm doing budgeting every week.
But we need the communication from Zilo. We need
also other people train.
Yeah. So anyways, there's definitely other problems that are going on. We all just need to work together as a team even better. Make sure that the client work's getting done. Make sure all the work is getting done.
Now on more taxes, even we don't know which level are you. Just communicate. We also have a clear.
I communicate already. I reported Skype every time. Time over time, I'm reporting, and also I am assigned for a week for tube editing, and I am doing the tube editing every week.
Okay.
Check also my work.
Okay. So, anyways, I don't see this getting resolved right now because no one's putting up a proposal. No one has a clear idea of how to move forward with it. So you need to figure it out by the dynamic session. Otherwise, it's simple. Whoever's ranked the highest makes the decision. It just do it, get it done. Otherwise, it'll be hard stuff.
Let's make a decision because no one is always coming during dynamic time. It's always me and Albina.
Well, if you and Albina are the ones who show up, then you guys can make the decision.
Yeah.
You know, it's like whoever shows up at the session makes the decision and controls the budget. You know, so the budget is decided at the dynamic session. So if no one wants to show up, then they are saying they don't want to be involved, and they can vote online afterwards. You know, but you know, either way, the idea is to either propose and get it done now, or to wait until the dynamic session. But somebody needs to switch over to the Jello team, and it shouldn't be that difficult. You know, so ask people, send out an email, ask Joseph, ask Asif Razoo, figure out who wants to move over to the Jello team and get it done. You know, otherwise, like, you know, send Lucy and Joseph, or send Albina and Steve, and then you're done. Okay. And hopefully it'll just be for a month, because if people do the client work and they bump up the budgets and get everything functional again, then you don't have to worry about it. All right, so are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and check out. Are there any other questions on the budget?
Yes. So what happened if we now send someone to Jello? So are we going to use now the option 2? If we send 2 people to one body team to Jello?
No, option 2 or option 3 is irrespective of whether they go to Jello or not.
Okay.
Because the vote for the overall budget is either option number 2, which is $2,700 about, or it's option number 3, which is about $2,300. So depending on which budget option passes, then you basically end up with a situation in your local team of of either this much money or this much money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Any other questions about the budget? Yeah, so I mean, basically, regardless of how much money is in the overall budget, the amount of money in the new old world budget is $856. Right? This amount doesn't change. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Alrighty then. All right, so let's go ahead and I would like to just go towards checking out myself. I think we're ready to check out.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions about anything, or any other next steps, or you know, I mean, we're still sort of in the end, you know, level of this budget crisis. Like, our goal is to get a stable budget, and the stable budget requires to have a equalized client work and budget pool of money, of income from our expenses, right? That's the goal, is that our income and expenses balance. Until that happens, where our budget is a problem. All right. So any other questions on the budget or anything else? Any other next steps?
Yeah, are you going to get done with the person calculation for the weekly check-in now or later?
Was that a question?
The question is, are you, can you review on the person calculation for the weekly check-in now, or you will do later?
I have to go. I have a client session that I need to meet for the first time right now. So we've gone 3 hours. I can't continue. So if you guys want to continue without me, that's perfectly fine. But someone needs to send this to me on Skype so I can review it.
Okay, sure. I'm just giving the link on the
and then the co-chair election, someone just needs to do the calculations and then send out the results of the co-chair election so that we can have a co-chair. Like, I don't understand why week after week we don't have co-chair results. It doesn't make sense. I mean, everyone knows how to do it. You just add up the votes and you announce the winner. I mean, it shouldn't be complicated.
Okay, it will be done within tomorrow. No problem.
Yeah, just do it. It's like,
the vote should be starting from which date?
From the full moon.
Before the new moon.
No, after the full moon, between the full moon
So
and the new moon.
after the full moon, we will get the result.
Yeah.
No. The question was, from what date do you start counting the votes? The answer is any vote after the full moon and before the new moon is totally reasonable. You can vote anytime you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now for the weekly check-in, the column L percentage. I don't know where you are getting it now. It's now you are making it even.
I need to get going here. Are we checking out, or are you guys doing the weekly percentage check-in?
They check out there. Maybe Zulu will tell us.
Just going to deal with it.
So
okay,
are you guys going to continue?
I need to wrap up also.
Okay, let's wrap up.
Okay.
But Zulu, okay. Maybe you show up during the dynamic Zulu. We work on this thing.
I will try most. I will try this.
Please. Yeah. Okay, Jay, you can check out, Jay.
Well, here, we'll just go through this really, really quickly. Some problems you can see here, it's like people who say they're working hours and not charging for it. Like, obviously, that's a problem, right? Also, Steve K, like, that doesn't make any sense that they would have $0 but have hours, right?
That's why we say there is a problem.
Yeah. So,
Steve has not worked for the whole month. It's just zero.
But this makes sense that there was only 47 hours worked, because before it was like 300 or something ridiculous, right? So then the question is, if there's 111 hours for Old World, this all looks reasonable. Cool. So this is fine. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. I would get rid of column F. It gets confusing. I would get rid of column H. It gets confusing. You can just look that up. It's not complicated to look that up. And then what's going to happen here is you're going to take the total number of hours worked, and then you're going to divide it by the percentage of client work, and then that's going to give you the total hours of client work, which is then going to give us the percentage of the different types of work. So anyways, I'll do that later. It should be pretty easy, but I think this is fine. I just wanted to make sure that we had the correct information. Okay.
Is it the correct? It does not even show us in the team. Column 2.5 is coming from where?
What's coming
For
from
me,
where?
I'm not.
Which column?
Column L. Percentage L. Column L.
I don't know what this is. What is this?
Zulu.
I was just checking with the person times what is spent within the work hours.
Percentage time.
This is optional. I can delete it, no problem. This is optional.
That is even complicating everything.
Yeah, I mean anything that's unnecessary
just checking with the
information.
person
Is
time
not,
that people are spending on.
yeah. So if you do the total time, so it's 47.75, right? 47.75. Why is there a damn percentage here? Number. There we go. Whoops. 47.75 is the time. And then you pull this down. Then what you can see is you can multiply this by the client work. So here's the estimated percentage of client work. So, and let's do it down here. It might be a little bit more interesting. So if you have 111 hours of work, and then you multiply this by the client, whoops. So this is equal to the total number of hours. Oh no, what's going on here? Shoot. Are we good here? All right, that looks good. All right, so we have the total number of hours. Oh, no. First you have to do, so we're going to take the total number of hours. Let's not worry about that. So let's start with client work time, or client work hours.
Okay, yeah.
So client work hours is just going to be the total percentage of client work times the total number of hours, right? So that's
Exactly.
the actual amount of client work that was done by each person. Then you can take the total sum of the client work, which is 23 hours, right? So then this would be 23 hours. Cool. So then from there, you're going to be calculating out the percentage relationship of the client work from the total work. So maybe it's just 23 hours, and then you have 125. So this is 111.25. So then this would be equal to this divided by that. So it would be 20% client work. So I think that's it. So this is the total amount of actual client hours. This is the total amount of hours in general. So where this is 14%, this is 14% assuming that these people's 0 hours are equal to those with 44%. But just because you have 0 hours doesn't mean it's the equal number of hours. So you actually look at the total number of client work hours added together based on the fact that each person has a different number of hours. And then you add all that together, so you have a total number of client work hours is 23%, estimated, obviously not exact. And then you have 111 hours total, which is 20%. So you can see that the total amount of client work is actually higher than what would be done if you just average it between everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there is also column.
Yes. Okay, Alvin.
Column E.
Column E is just the money. This is the money.
Yeah. Now Rachel and Jessica, are they working for $0 per week?
And even Steve is not working for 53. Is it 53?
Even Abdul is not working for 25.
Again, it's 14. It's 14 hours, which is a total of $53. So it'd be $53 divided by 14, which works out to about $3.78 an hour. Does that make sense?
No, I don't understand.
If he makes $53 for the week, and you divide it by 14 hours, it comes out to $3.78 per hour.
No, he don't make even more than that. He make $40 per week, I think. $40, yeah.
And this one is per week. Now it is like...
Sure, well, just
remind him.
Wrong. If it's wrong, then just remind him that it's wrong. But the point is that it should be an estimate. If they don't understand what their pay rate, then you should remind them, okay?
Okay.
And you can update it. All right, cool. So I need to get going, so let's check out.
Zilu, you need to tell us on what you are doing because I'm confused. The hard stuff will just...
Yeah, we are asking people on the form for estimated money per week. So people are just estimate and just placing on the form. So we just call them.
Are you going with what they are just putting there, or you are putting the right thing?
You're putting
we'll get only the responses.
Yeah, you put the responses.
I think there is this confusion. Like if someone puts something there, if it goes wrong,
our own self.
I think
we have a question or any issue, then we will make a comment and ask people to make it perfect.
Exactly.
But we will never change the responses.
Yeah. So you can change. You want to put the responses from the form. And then if you change it because there's a problem, like for example, they put, oh, I did 42% client work. If Abdul didn't do 42% client work last week, I don't even remember him working at all, right?
Yeah.
Then it's
I don't know why that's what.
Yeah. So then that client work could be 0. You change it to 0, but you make a comment. So I click comment.
Exactly. That is what I did.
What Zilu doing? He's putting the things that are on the form.
Yeah,
that's not verification.
I know, but if there's no comment, then you can't know. So you make a comment here, and you'd say like, Abdul did no client work as equal is not.
Exactly, that's what I did last time.
Change the 42%. We shouldn't change on the 42%. We can make the comment on it.
We have to change
the percentage.
right exact thing.
You make
you
it.
Put the right
you
You
have
make
to
a
put
comment.
you have to actually make the comment of what the wrong number is, and then you put the correct one in. Otherwise, it's pointless. Does that make sense, Elu?
Yeah.
Like because we're using this data to know whether or not people are on soft stop or hard stop. We need to have the correct numbers in. If they put the wrong numbers in, you have to change them to the correct numbers. But you need to make a comment that explains why the number was changed. Otherwise, nobody knows. And there's no comments anywhere here. So obviously, nothing should have been changed. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Cool. So if I change this to 0, yeah, I could see in the comment it was 42%. He didn't do any client work. It was checked and verified, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's check out. Or can we check out now?
Yes, thank you, at least.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna check out. I thought this was a good session. I give it a 6.75, and you know, I'm gonna be working more on the client relations. So I'm doing my client relations with the right after this with the mission within, and they should be paying us some more money to bring in, which is good. Not enough to shore up our budget, but you know, an extra few $100s a month is better than nothing. From there, I am working on the Z Collaborator and or the Zero Eco project, and then I'm also working on the EXA token allocations and the FQN token. So yeah, lots of things going on today and tomorrow. And that's just the next couple of days, let alone the rest of the week. And obviously I'll be doing payroll, et cetera, et cetera. And I really want to make sure people are prioritizing client work. I do most of my time is client work. You know, everyone should be putting in a significant time to client work. So if you need to say what client you want to focus on and then keep asking questions and get help. All right. And you can know what the client is. The client work is listed right here in our budget, all the potential income. And if you don't work on the client work, then there's no income, and then you shouldn't be getting paid. And if you aren't working on client work and you're not putting 33% of your time on client work, you should have a direct buddy or someone you're talking with who is doing more client work than you are, and so that you're balanced, right? You shouldn't assume anyone is balancing with you unless you talk to them. All right, check.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Who wants to check out next?
Lucy,
Go for it.
I'll give the session 6. And I'm going to focus on not really focus, just prioritizing J support and also Plasma. I want also to know more about the sponsorship program, budget, and payroll.
So Lucy, you're working on the sponsorship program. Great. And some Plasma. And Plasma, we need to get, like I really don't want people working on Plasma unless they're working on the priority responsibilities of Plasma. So let's make sure we're doing that. All right.
Yeah, I'll work with them on that.
Great. Who wants to check out next? Zilu, Albina, who wants to go?
Me.
I will give this session 6, and I will work with the taxes, at session preparations, and other session preparations, and those tabulations, quickly checking calculations, and management of the responsibilities, highest responsibilities, with the session support also, and the schedules.
You've got me.
Who is that guy? Steve is there.
Yeah.
No,
Okay, I'm checking out.
Okay, go for it, Jessica.
I'll give the session a 7. I'll be working on maybe learning more on Plasmo and also personnel hour tracking and maybe payroll.
Personnel tracking hours is part of payroll. So
Yeah.
And Jessica,
Jay, are we billing personnel tracking hours on payroll?
yeah, I mean that would be personnel tracking hours would be finances and payroll and would be internal operations.
Yeah.
Is it under coordination or a payroll?
It's under internal operations. It's part of payroll.
payroll.
Yes. Can see, I think we confuse most of the time we bill
Yeah,
personnel tracking costs under worker coordination. Thank you.
Yeah, worker coordination is like weekly, weekly check-ins. Like the weekly check-in forms and weekly check-ins would be worker coordination, whereas paying workers is tracking their hours and then doing the payroll verification.
Even payroll setup, that all under payroll.
Yeah, payroll setup, all that. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Jessica
Oh, and
and
by the way,
You did-
the gold came today, so I was able to get that, and then I can go and sell it, and then we'll be good for Friday or something like that.
Oh my God, that's good.
So Jessica and Rachel, when you do the verification,
The verification.
hours,
Uh-huh.
make sure like week 3, you said you verify, but it's still yellow. If you don't understand, ask questions so that you make it green. We know that the work is done. But it's still yellow, so we don't know if you're still working there or what's happening. Confirm for week 3. If there is a question, just ask, we shall help you.
Okay.
Cool. Great. And Jessica, just do your best to add some more responsibilities and client work and keep doing training. But that is great. We're happy to have you here today. It's really great. So is that everyone? Steve O, I think, is the last person.
What is that?
Okay. Okay, this session has been a good one. I can rate it at 6.5. For this coming week, I'll be working on payroll and also Plasmo. And also, I would like to know more about J support.
Yeah, so the key with J support is you need to work with me. If you want to support and work with me, you can do that, but it does require working with me. We don't work too much together. But anyways, that all sounds good. So let's keep it moving forward.
Jay, do you have some other videos for Ricola or for sponsorship program so that I can take myself through?
Maybe, yeah. If we have videos, it will help us also to get.
Nothing really that's updated. I mean, RICO Law is more of like executive support, and the sponsorship program, we've never really worked on it. So yeah, we just need to prioritize it.
When you're dealing with the bills, just Skype us. We will join with you to help.
The bills?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it would be good to
just Skype us. We will jump to work anytime.
Yeah, and it would be good to do like a co-treasurer. Like we really should consider appointing a co-treasurer at the Earth session, and having somebody that can actually, do bills and payments and other things on along with me. So, anyways, really quickly, we're going to be starting doing our tokens for the 116 degree west half year. So if someone does the session value tracking, tomorrow, the next day, we should be able to actually start issuing tokens and value. So if anyone wants to just make sure we have your Like, is everyone at nighttime except for me?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I don't know the Zulu.
Yeah, Azil, yeah. Even the CEO.
All right, cool. So if you guys can, if anyone wants to do the session value tracking, starting basically today, we'll be able to actually issue the value of the tokens, and people will start receiving tokens and value directly for their session value tracking credit. So let's prioritize that. All right, so I'm gonna take off. Good work, everyone.
Yeah, bye.
Oh, Jay, before you go,
Yeah.
so now, Jay, no one is standing to do the verification payroll. Can we really do that? Because we are always available with them.
Can we do like first
Okay, but
verification again on our site?
The main thing you need to understand here is that Jessica and Steve are not really, they don't have any training in any sort of real client work, right? They're not really doing client work, right? So you guys should be, anytime you're working on something like personal tracking hours, you should be training them and working with them so that they're doing it properly. And then if they're not going to be doing client work as much, they need to be, that you guys need to be working more on the client work and then having other people work on the internal operations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like the people who know how to do client work should be focusing on client work. The people who don't should be doing the internal operations and getting the training to do the work. And then you're passing off and handing off the work that needs to get done, you know? So it's like, we just need to work as a team. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I go? Are we good?
No, good. Will you tell Steve? Yes,
Yes, please.